Billionaire Stepmom abandoned disabled daughter. What the waitress did next will leave you in tears. What if a billionaire mom's relentless pursuit of success led her to abandon the one person who needed her most, her own daughter? Vanessa Grant's office on the 57th floor of the Grant Tower was a shrine to her success, its sleek chrome and glass reflecting Manhattan's glittering skyline. At 42, she was a titan of real estate, her name synonymous with power. Her latest triumph, a $2.5 billion acquisition of a luxury hotel chain, had cemented her as Forbes Woman of the Year. Her tailored Armani suit was as sharp as her mind, and as she sipped her espresso, her eyes scanned a tablet filled with projections for a Dubai resort deal. Her phone buzzed with messages from CEOs and senators, but she barely noticed. Her world was one of boardrooms and bottom lines. Across the city, in a sterile care facility in Brooklyn's quieter edges, her daughter, Ella, lived in a different universe. At 16, Ella's life was bound to a wheelchair, her legs weakened by spinal muscular atrophy, a condition that demanded constant care. Her room was a beige cage, its only color a faded poster of a starry night sky, taped up by a nanny who'd left when Ella was 9. Ella's dark eyes, mirrors of her mother's, stared out a window at a world she'd never truly touched. Vanessa's visits were rarer than a lunar eclipse, replaced by curt texts and birthday gifts delivered by assistants with polished smiles. Ella had stopped expecting her mother's face at the door. Vanessa hadn't always been so distant. When Ella was born, Vanessa had held her, singing lullabies in a cramped apartment before the empire took shape. But as Ella's medical needs grew, surgeries, therapies, endless appointments, Vanessa's ambition outpaced her motherhood. Her marriage to Richard Langley, a 60-year-old billionaire with a heart for philanthropy, gave her the capital to chase bigger dreams. Ella became a shadow, entrusted to a carousel of caretakers who came and went like seasons, each leaving behind a fleeting kindness, a book, a blanket, a moment of warmth before fading away. Ella's loneliness was a silent storm. She buried it in novels, escaping into tales of heroes and far-off lands. She dreamed of a mother who'd push her wheelchair through Central Park, who'd share secrets over hot chocolate, who'd see her as more than a burden. But Vanessa was a phantom, a signature on checks that kept the facility's lights on. In the small town of Willow Creek, upstate New York, Lily Langley wiped down tables at the Bluebird Diner, her apron stained with coffee and grease. At 24, she was Richard's daughter from his first marriage, raised far from his gilded world. Her mother, a schoolteacher, had instilled in her a belief that kindness was worth more than gold. Lily's dream was to open a bakery where she'd bake breads and pastries that warmed the soul. For now, she served pancakes and poured coffee, her smile a beacon in the diner's cozy hum of chatter and clinking plates. Lily had always felt a pull to help others, a trait her father admired, but Vanessa dismissed as quaint. When a flyer at the diner advertised volunteer opportunities at Willow Creek Care Center, Lily signed up without hesitation. She didn't know it, but that choice would unravel a family's secrets. On her first day at the facility, Lily met Ella. The girl sat by a window, her wheelchair angled toward the sunlight, her face pale and drawn. Lily noticed the way Ella's hands fidgeted, as if searching for something to hold onto. Kneeling beside her, Lily pointed to the starry poster on the wall. "That's gorgeous," she said. "You into stars." Ella's eyes flickered with surprise. No one had asked her about herself in years. Hesitantly, she spoke of her love for astronomy, how she'd memorized every constellation in the facility's tattered books. Lily listened, her warmth melting Ella's defenses. By the end of the hour, Ella had smiled a real, unguarded smile for the first time in months. Lily felt a spark, a sense that this girl, so overlooked, was a universe waiting to be explored. Lily began visiting Ella after her diner shifts, her beat-up Honda crunching down the facility's gravel drive. She brought small gifts, a constellation map, a playlist of songs about the sky, a tiny thriftster telescope. But her greatest gift was time. She took Ella to a local park, pushing her wheelchair along a winding path as they laughed at squirrels chasing acorns. She snuck her into a movie theater, where Ella's eyes widened at the screen's glow. her world expanding beyond beige walls. On one rainy afternoon, they sat in the diner after hours, sharing a slice of pie as Lily taught Ella to play checkers, their laughter echoing in the empty booth. One chilly evening, as they sat on a bench overlooking a frozen pond, Ella's voice grew quiet. "Mom doesn't come anymore," she said, her breath visible in the cold air. "She says she's busy. But I think she's ashamed of me." Lily's heart clenched. She took Ella's hand, her calloused fingers gentle. "You're not something to be ashamed of, Ella. You're incredible, and I'm here, okay?" Ella nodded, tears brimming. For the first time, she felt seen not as a disability, but as a person. Lily pushed Ella to try new things. In the facility's art room, she introduced her to painting, guiding her hands to create swirls of blue and gold. Ella's first canvas of vibrant, messy galaxy became her pride and joy. Lily hung it above her bed, declaring it museum-worthy. Ella laughed, a sound that felt foreign but welcome. Music followed. Lily borrowed a guitar from a diner regular and taught Ella simple chords, her fingers clumsy but determined. Each note was a victory, each song a step toward confidence. Lily also gave Ella a leather-bound journal, encouraging her to write her thoughts. Ella's entries began as timid scribbles, but grew into vivid stories of imaginary worlds, planets, where girls in wheelchairs led rebellions, where stars whispered secrets. Writing became Ella's voice, a way to scream against her isolation. But beneath her growing joy, a shadow lingered. Ella's heart ached with questions. Why did it take a stranger to see her? Why couldn't her mother be the one teaching her to paint, to play, to dream? The resentment simmered, but Lily's presence kept it at bay, her laughter a lifeline. Vanessa, meanwhile, was in Dubai, closing a deal that would etch her name in history. Her phone buzzed with congratulations, but a message from Richard stopped her cold, a photo of Ella and Lily at the park. Ella's face lit with a smile Vanessa hadn't seen in years. The caption read, "You should see her, Vanessa. She's thriving." Vanessa stared at the photo, her chest tightening. She'd always told herself Ella was better off with professionals, that her daughter's needs were too complex for her to handle. But Lily, her stepdaughter, of all people, was proving her wrong. The realization stung, stirring memories Vanessa had buried deep. She hadn't always been the untouchable CEO. Growing up in a small Ohio town, Vanessa had watched her family fracture. Her younger brother, Tommy, was born with cerebral palsy, his needs overwhelming their struggling parents. At 10, Vanessa watched them send him to a facility, erasing him from their lives. She remembered the empty chair at the dinner table, the neighbors' whispers, the guilt that clawed at her for not being enough to hold her family together. At 12, she'd snuck into Tommy's facility, her heart racing as she saw his smile, bright despite his pain. But the visit was too much to Ra, and she never returned. She'd vowed to escape that pain, to build a life where she'd never feel helpless again. Ella's birth had reopened those wounds. Every doctor's visit, every therapy session echoed Tommy's struggles. Vanessa had pushed her daughter away, convincing herself it was for Ella's good. But the photos Richard kept sending Ella painting, Ella strumming a guitar, Ella laughing with Lily were daggers. Each one exposed her absence. Back in New York, Vanessa threw herself into work, but the whispers followed. Her staff murmured about her abandoned daughter. A tabloid headline screamed, "Billionaire mom leaves disabled daughter to rot." The words burned, but Vanessa couldn't deny their truth. At a gala at the Met, her diamond earrings glinting under chandeliers, she smiled for cameras but felt hollow. A colleague praised Lily's heart of gold for volunteering, and the words cut deeper than any deal's failure. One evening, Vanessa stood on the gala's balcony, the city's hum below her. Richard found her there, his voice gentle but firm. "You need to see Ella, Vanessa. She's your daughter, and she's waiting." Vanessa resisted, but the photos haunted her. She drove to the facility the next day, her heart pounding as she walked to Ella's room. Ella was painting, her wheelchair by a window, sunlight catching the gold in her hair. The sight of her daughter, so alive, hit Vanessa like a tidal wave. "Mom," Ella's voice trembled, a mix of shock and hope. Vanessa's throat tightened. I wanted to see you," she managed, sitting beside Ella. Her hands shook as she looked at the canvas, a swirling cosmos, alive with color. "This is beautiful," she whispered. Ella's eyes glistened, but she didn't look away. "Why didn't you want me?" she asked, her voice small but piercing. Vanessa's breath caught. She wanted to deflect, but the truth spilled out. "I was scared," she admitted. "When you were born, I saw my brother in you, Tommy, who my parents gave away because they couldn't handle him. I was 10 when they sent him to a facility. I visited him once, and he smiled at me. But I never went back. It hurt too much. And when you were born, I thought if I kept my distance, I wouldn't hurt you like they hurt him. But I hurt you anyway." The room was silent, the weight of her words heavy. Ella's hand reached out, tentative, and Vanessa took it, tears streaming down her face. "I want to be better," she whispered. "I want to be your mom." Ella squeezed her hand, a tear falling. "I just wanted you to see me." Lily, watching from the doorway, stepped forward. "She's amazing, Vanessa," she said softly. "And she's been waiting for you." Vanessa looked at Lily, her stepdaughter's compassion a stark contrast to her own coldness. "Thank you," she said, her voice breaking, "for showing me what I couldn't see. Rebuilding wasn't easy." Vanessa took a leave from work, a first in her career, to spend time with Ella. They went to Central Park, where Vanessa pushed Ella's wheelchair over crunchy leaves. Learning the rhythm of her daughter's laughter, they visited the planetarium, Ella's eyes sparkling under artificial stars. Vanessa listened to Ella's stories, read her journal entries, and marveled at her resilience. But trust was fragile. Ella's hurt ran deep, surfacing in quiet moments when she'd ask, "Will you stay this time?" One night, in the facility's garden, Ella handed Vanessa her journal. "Read it," she said quietly. Vanessa opened it, her heart sinking as she read. "I wonder what I did wrong to make her leave me. I wonder if I'll ever be enough." The words were raw, a map of Ella's pain. Vanessa closed the journal, tears falling. "You were always enough," she said. "I was the one who wasn't." Ella searched her face. "Are you staying?" Vanessa nodded, her voice steady. "I'm staying." As Vanessa worked to rebuild, a twist shook her world. Lily, sorting through old family photos at Richard's estate for a scrapbook for Ella, found a letter tucked in a dusty box. It was from Tommy, Vanessa's brother, written to their parents years ago. In it, he spoke of his love for them, his hope for reconciliation, and his dream of seeing his sister again. The letter revealed he'd lived longer than Vanessa knew, passing away only 5 years ago in a facility in our Formellas. The discovery shattered Vanessa. She'd believed Tommy was gone, that her parents' abandonment was the end of his story. But he'd been alive, waiting, hoping. The parallel to Ella was undeniable. Vanessa's neglect wasn't just a repeat of her parents' mistakes, it was a betrayal of Tommy's memory. She shared the letter with Ella, her voice trembling as she read it aloud. "I didn't know," she said. "I thought he was gone. But I should have looked for him, and I should have looked for you." Ella traced Tommy's handwriting. "He sounds like he loved you," she said softly. "Maybe we can honor him together." The idea sparked a fire in Vanessa. She founded a non-profit in Tommy's name, dedicated to supporting families of disabled children. Ella designed the logo, a starry sky, a nod to her love for astronomy. Lily volunteered, her baking turning fundraisers into warm, welcoming events. But the work unearthed more secrets. Vanessa learned her parents had received Tommy's letters, but never responded, their shame too deep. The revelation forced Vanessa to confront her own shame, her own fear of facing Ella's needs. Vanessa's transformation didn't go unnoticed. The tabloids, once vicious, began to shift. A headline read, "Billionaire Mom's Redemption, a new chapter for Ella." Vanessa invited a journalist to meet Ella, who spoke at a non-profit event. Her voice steady as she shared her journey from isolation to hope. The story went viral, inspiring donations and volunteers. But not everyone was moved. A rival CEO, bitter over a lost deal, leaked old emails where Vanessa dismissed Ella's care as a distraction. The backlash was swift, with social media calling her a hypocrite. Vanessa faced the storm head-on. At a press conference, she admitted her failures. "I wasn't there for my daughter," she said, her voice raw. "But I'm here now, and I'll spend my life making it right." Ella, watching from backstage, rolled forward and took her hand, a silent gesture that silenced the room. Months later, the Grant penthouse was no longer a cold showcase, but a home alive with color. Ella's paintings lined the walls, her guitar rested in a corner, and Lily's homemade bread filled the air. The three women sat together one evening, Ella strumming a melody, Lily clapping, Vanessa watching with a peace she'd never known. Ella caught her gaze and smiled. "I'm glad you're here, Mom." Vanessa's heart swelled. "Me too, sweetheart." The journey wasn't over. Vanessa still battled guilt, Ella her insecurities, but they faced them together. Lily's bakery took shape, funded by Vanessa, who saw her stepdaughter's kindness as their family's salvation. The nonprofit grew, a beacon for others, and Ella found her voice, speaking at events and writing stories that inspired thousands. One night, Ella wheeled to the penthouse window, the Manhattan stars twinkling above. She no longer dreamed of a different life. She had her mother, her sister, and a world that was hers. Vanessa, once defined by her empire, had found something greater, a family, rebuilt from the ashes of her past, lit by the stars of Ella's dreams.